Have you noticed that certain rooms in your home might be hotter or colder than others? Or maybe you've noticed an increase in how much you're spending on your monthly power bill.
You might be surprised at what the answer might be.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Mike with Anthem Heating and Air Conditioning.
Today we're going to talk about the importance of your ductwork. Have you noticed any of those hot or cold spots in your house? When you think about your AC, you may only think about the bulky air conditioner that sits outside your home or your vents and registers that you see in your ceiling. Today we're going to talk about the channels that distribute that air throughout your house and why it's important.
When Andrew talks about channels, what he's talking about in this case is ductwork. Here's an example of an air conditioner's ductwork. It's located in the attic or underneath the home, and it normally is used to distribute air throughout the house to each and every room so that it can condition your room properly.
So what Mike is saying is, if you hold your hand up to one of your vents and registers and you feel air coming out of it, that air is coming through your ductwork. If you were to notice no air or little airflow coming out of this vent, that might mean that you have a problem that needs your attention. If you have an uncomfortable room or you've noticed that your energy bills are rising, it may be a good idea to have somebody come out and see what your problem is.
If you don't feel any air coming out of that vent system, it could be more than just the duct work. It could be the duct system, which is made up of about 6 different items. We'll go over each and every one of those, the first being flex duct. Andrew, tell us a little bit about flex duct.
This is flex duct. This is most commonly found in attics. It is ductwork that is wrapped in insulation and is flexible. The other type of ductwork that we do see is rigid duct. This type of duct is not flexible. It's made out of sheet metal and wrapped in insulation. Most oftentimes this is found on a flat roof or in chases along the ceilings of your home.
When I go to a restaurant, a lot of times I'll see ductwork up there. What type of ductwork is that normally?
This would be the rigid ductwork that I mentioned.
Okay. So at restaurants or commercial use, they use the rigid ones, while homes typically will use a flexible ductwork.
That's right, Mike. We normally see this in our residential homes, while rigid ductwork is most commonly found in commercial or industrial buildings.
So how is this potentially causing no air to one of my vents?
There are a couple of problems that we can see. The first one would be if there was a rip or a tear in this ductwork, causing the cold or hot air that's traveling through this ductwork to go up into your attic. That's going to cause less airflow coming through your vents or your registers. Another thing that we'll see is this duct actually being disconnected. If the ducts aren't connected properly, again, we're having leaks and air loss.
Andrew, if I have somebody working in my attic or crawl space near my duct system, could they damage my ductwork somehow?
Yes, that's correct, Mike. What could happen is if you have somebody doing some work up in your attic, they could not be careful where they're stepping, and maybe they step or fall on your duct and crush it. If that happens, again, we're going to have a problem with airflow.
What about if my ducts are ran improperly? Kinked, bent, stuff like that. Could that cause a problem also?
Right. Sometimes we do see an improper design with ductwork or something happen over time where the ductwork becomes kinked or has a hard angle. If the air is obstructed in any way by that ductwork not being as straight as possible, that's going to impede your airflow.
Hey Andrew, at my house I just have one big duct coming off my system, but how does it get to every single room?
In order to branch out to each room in your home, what we do is we use these rigid duct transitions. These duct transitions have ductwork that breaks off of it and goes to each room in your home. This is hard sheet metal to avoid the hard angles that may cause the ductwork to get kinked and obstruct your airflow.
But how can something like this cause a problem? Where would the problem be in the transition area?
A lot of times what we'll see is the duct actually becomes disconnected from this transition. That's another leak in your ductwork, causing your system to work harder and causing discomfort in your home. So far we've noticed a common thread with potential problems with your connection points or air loss or leakage. The next thing is no different. We're going to talk about the plenum. Mike, what's the plenum?
So the plenum comes off of your furnace or your coil, and it's actually kind of the base of where your ducts originate from off your system. From there, it's kind of like a trunk of a tree, and then it branches out using the transitions and more ductwork.
What are some potential problems we could see with our plenum, Mike?
So a plenum is actually 2 pieces of metal that connect together, and if they're not properly sealed, you're gonna get leaks. It's a common area where we see a lot of leaks in there. Older systems tend to have the breakdown of the glue or tape, special tape that we use to tape this up. So one type of tape you don't want to use is duct tape. Duct tape is not for duct work.
Next, we're going to talk about some of the things that we see in our house that's related to our duct system. You've probably gone into rooms in your home and you felt cold or hot air coming out of these. These are called vents and registers. What are some problems we can see with our vents or registers, Mike?
So the registers or vents are actually where the air is finally hitting the destination of entering your home. So the registers, if they're not sealed properly to the duct system, there's going to be leaks also. The other problem is to make sure that these registers are the right registers for the room. We want to make sure that it throws the air to cool the whole room around you. So if you have the wrong register, it's not going to quite get every corner of that room, and you're going to have hot spots, cold spots throughout that room. So we talked about the registers of the supply registers, but where does the air enter the system?
There is another type of register. It's called a return vent or a return register. Sometimes in your home you may change your filter from this register. What it does is it sucks the hot air from your room in your home and it redistributes it through your ductwork after it's cooled down from your system.
So it's one big loop, goes in through the return, through our system, ductwork, transitions out the vents, and it cycles the air. And we don't want to lose any of that air, do we?
No, it's also very important to make sure that we have the right size of returns and the correct amount of returns in our home to allow for proper airflow and a properly balanced ductwork system. We talked about the importance of our ductwork in our home and some of the problems that we might see that might affect our everyday life. Some of these things you may be able to fix yourselves, and some others it may be a good idea to call a qualified service professional.
If you need any help with any of this stuff, our information's here on the screen. We're serving the Coachella Valley and Riverside area. I'm Mike.
And I'm Andrew.
With Anthem Air Conditioning and Heating. We'll see you next time.